What's going on? Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Chandie Speaks podcast. It's your girl, Chandie. It's me speaking. Chandie is speaking right now on the mic. Really good mic. Mic check, mic check. Love this microphone. Love this microphone. What it is. What day is it? Oh my God. Today is Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025. In America, we called it Election Day, even though there's no presidential election this year. But this podcast will be uploaded for tomorrow, Wednesday, November the 5th. If you're viewing this from YouTube, or if you see the video version of this on social media somewhere, you can see that it's almost night. I'm recording this in my van, per usual. It's almost 5:45 at night, and I'm parked outside of a friend's house. They invited me for dinner. Then I remembered that I didn't record the podcast early this morning like I normally do on Tuesdays to have it ready for Wednesday. So I'm recording it now, and it's almost at the very last minute. It will get dark on the video version of this, but if you're just listening, thanks for listening. Yeah, it's actually partially dark right now. The good thing is, like, this week, my laptop is fully charged, so the laptop won't die. It'll just probably get hard to see. But anyway, most of you are just listening. What did I want to get into this week? It's been a crazy week. Okay, you know what? I took a bunch of notes. I took a bunch of notes. Where the hell is it? And I just kind of want to just come on here and just speak on the shit that's been happening since the last week's podcast. All right, so for all of y'all who've been following along, last week I said that I got back with my ex job. Let me finish. I got back with my ex job. You didn't let me finish. Well, long story totally short, my ex didn't want me back. My ex job didn't want me back. The Waffle House, respectfully. I was actually supposed to follow up with them, but I ended up finding another job. But yeah, so I don't actually remember if I made like an explanation about how I left the Waffle House last time, but let's just put it all out there. I walked out. This was like Mother's Day weekend, and it was a particularly busy weekend, and I was the only cook on schedule. That's normally how it goes at Waffle House. You're the only cook, and I was the one who was responsible for cooking over $1,400 of food. I think I was at $1,200 of food around midnight, because I worked the third shift. I worked from 9 p.m. at night till 6 or 7 in the morning. And around midnight, I ended up walking out after cooking about $1,200, $1,300 worth of food by myself because of how do I say this? The incompetency. The servers sucked, okay? Let's just say that. In fact, I know maybe some of them are listening now or not. I'm actually cool with them, like energetically and spiritually. No beef. It's all business. It's all love and stuff. But yeah, it was a rough night for me because I felt like the servers were just sucking at their job that night. So I walked out. Was not my proudest moment. And I sent my boss a text message telling him that I quit and that I was done. But at that time, I was already working a second job as a catering chef doing weddings in Georgia. This was way back in Georgia, way back earlier this year. Well, flash forward to about 2 weeks ago when I quit my bar job. I worked at a bar out here in Sedona for reasons you guys can go back and just, I've already talked about it and bitched about it so many times, but I left that job with sort of I had like an understanding that maybe, just maybe, I could go all the way down to Phoenix, 100 miles away from Sedona, and ask for a job at the Waffle House. And at the time of my last recording, I was under the impression that I had a job locked in, but they didn't let me train or finish my onboarding process because, it's a big corporation. The managers in Arizona had to call the managers all the way in Georgia, and yeah, they never got back to me. Technically, it's not a no, but I'm probably delusional. Like, it's probably a no, to be honest, I wouldn't hire me back either. And it's so sad because, I love the Waffle House. I'm not ashamed to say that. I had a bad day. Hell, I'm not even going to lie and say that I've had a bad weeks at the Waffle House, but overall, it's been my favorite job, and I love Waffle House. And it's just kind of sucks that I won't be able to work for them, at least not now. Maybe if I try back next year or something like that. Because like I said in my last video, stability is very important to me right now. I really need some stability in my life, and the Waffle House just has that. They have benefits. They have, recession-proof business. They've been in business for over 5 decades. So it is what it is. So basically, so last week I uploaded the podcast on Wednesday. I recorded it on Tuesday night, or one of those nights. I think I recorded it on Monday night. One of those fucking nights when I found out, yep, it was Sunday night, because that's when I found out that lady that I met at the Waffle House, who I invited into my home like a dumbass, stole my weed. So I made that podcast on Sunday, and at that time I thought I had a job. Well, Monday rolls around, Tuesday rolls around. I ain't got time to wait. So I ended up driving all the way back. That's where I am right now, in Sedona. I drove all the way back to Sedona, and I got my last paycheck from the bar job, and I've basically just been surviving off of that last paycheck for the last week. Really, it's been kind of like 2 weeks because I haven't worked in 2 weeks. I just got a job yesterday at a hotel, or a bed and breakfast. So it is what it is, And I remember talking about this in a previous episode on how, like, these jobs have just been sort of like relationships in a way. Like, maybe if people approached their relationships or not even that, maybe if people worked hard and in their relationships as they work hard at their jobs, then maybe they will have more successful relationships. It's just a little parallel that I'm seeing between my personal life and my professional life. I'm obviously, and we're talking about professional here, but it could probably relate to my personal life, but I obviously have some kind of hang up with staying with these shitty jobs for a long period of time. I have commitment issues with these jobs. And when I tell you that I was like desperate this week because we're coming down, my bills are still billing. Okay. I can't just, it was nice to not have to work, but I know I have to fucking work. You know what I mean? And that's the shitty part about it. It's because sort of maybe I can try and tie this to the relationships part. Like, we know that physically we are capable of being alone, right? It's okay to admit that you're happy being alone. But having a job is just sort of what I kind of have to do, regardless if it's something that I want to do or not. And same thing with people, sort of like connecting with people and talking with people and dealing with people on a daily basis is kind of a part of the human experience. So choose wisely. Choose who you want to spend your time and energy on, and or what job you want to spend your time and energy on. I've been kind of going through it this week. I had a little meltdown. Do I want to go into that? I don't even know if I want to talk about that. I kind of had a little meltdown, just sort of with all this fucking capitalistic bullshit that I have to kind of like go through. I would not wish capitalism. I would not wish a job on my worst enemy. And that's just kind of where I am right now. I came across this YouTube video. I forgot who made it. I probably saved it or something. But it was, I'm going to try and like paraphrase, but it was explaining why poor people stay poor, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I live in America, the greatest country on the planet. All right, God bless us. However, I'm still part of the fucking system. Anyway, I was watching this YouTube video, and it was saying something like, the reason why you will never be wealthy is because you exchange your time for money. And I know it sounds simple, but it kind of blew my head open. Because when you think about it, your time, you're selling yourself. You're selling the time and energy at face value. And it's not even at face value. We all know, or we believe, that our time is worth more than what people are willing to pay us. But we don't live in that reality where we get to choose how much our time is worth, right? And that's why there's a cap. There's like a cap on how much we can make. Sidebar, this video is just not going to be a video. This will probably just be a whole episode of just drone clips, and the audio, of course. But yeah, so exchanging time for money will basically keep you poor, because people have the people who are giving you money for your time, they've already determined how much your time is worth. They've already determined that. There's not really much you can do. Now, ideas, on the other hand, that's something that you can, work with. And that got me thinking about all kinds of stuff. Just like you can put a price on your ideas. Okay. And people who find your ideas great, they'd be willing to pay top dollar for it. The problem that I, and maybe most likely many Americans, and maybe most of the world population, because most of the world population is not wealthy, the problem I believe that I'm having is that I don't have any original ideas. Most people can't really come up with any innovative or original ideas. And if you do have original ideas, it also takes you sort of committing to that, sort of sacrificing for that, investing in that. It's like a whole fucking thing. That's literally what separates wealthy people from poor people, is that they decided that they didn't want to chase the bag no more. They didn't want to chase money. They wanted money to be attracted towards them. And the way you can do that is stop exchanging your time for money. Exchange your ideas for money. And if your ideas aren't giving you money, then you got bad ideas. Respectfully, come up with some better ideas. You know what I mean? This blew my head all open. I'm sure people who are like, financially literate, they know all about this. But this is all news to me. This whole time I'm thinking, okay, I'm jumping from relationship to relationship, job to job to job, and I'm gaining all of this experience, and my resume is pristine. However, I'm still broke. What? Like, I have worked every year of my life for 20 years. Literally. I've not missed more than 2 weeks of work in 20 fucking years. And I'm not talking about vacations. I'm not taking out the vacations, okay? I have not missed more than 2 weeks of work in 20 fucking years. I was involuntarily unemployed. And I'm thinking like, hey, if I could just give more of my time to these people, then they just give me more money, and that'll just equal more money. Yeah, on paper, yeah, more hours multiplied by the dollar per hour comes out to more fucking money. But in the end, you're still going to not have any money, because there's only so much that people will be willing to pay you for your time. I feel like I'm walking in circles. Does that make sense? That kind of blew my head all fucking open this week, and it got me really thinking, because I've been unemployed. This is the longest time that I've been unemployed, not including my vacation time. This is the longest time that I have been without a income. It's been 2 weeks. And during these 2 weeks, I have been just melting fucking down. Just kind of not willing to accept the fact that, I'm going to have to do more if I want more. It's not that I'm not willing to accept the fact. I'm just kind of like, I'm just kicking and screaming a little bit. It's like, fuck, now I got to actually fucking do it. Because when you think about it, I'm 36 years old, and I've already been working for 20 years. And all of those 20 years, I've only maybe been in charge of my own money 2 of the hundreds of jobs that I've worked. And one of them, I was married. Okay, so I hardly call that being in control of my money. And it was a business, so if you know, you know. It's kind of hard to run a business, especially a restaurant business, but I digress. And then the other time was when I was like an independent contractor doing door-to-door sales. I was completely in control of my money, and I made my own money, literally. Money was just flowing to me. I haven't had a job like that ever, and a lot of it has to do with just me not being, a bunch of shit. Motivation could be one of them. I smoke entirely too much weed to really give a fuck about anything. Confidence, self-confidence. I definitely struggle with feelings of inadequacy and afraid of failing, and afraid of it not being good enough. So yeah, that's another. So yeah, a lot of different things are going into they're basically excuses that I'm giving myself to continue to sell my fucking time and energy for pennies, essentially pennies. But I did, and I know I've probably talked about this before, and I don't, I have been putting some considerable thought into my next, I don't know, big thing that I want to try and be successful in. I feel like, the worst that can happen is that I won't be successful, but I'll still gain some kind of experience. It's always lessons to learn. But I thought about becoming a travel agent. I already have experience with planning itineraries for myself 100%. Like all of my international trips I've gone on, with the exception of one, I've gone on by myself, and I've planned it all the way through, down to the hotels, to the transportation, to the itinerary, to like what we're doing, everything. And I documented my last 3 trips. If you guys watch them on Van Life Diaries, go ahead and watch all of those episodes where I was in Guyana. I did that shit. That was in March, okay? That was not too fucking long ago. In March this year, 2025, I was in Guyana. I took myself to Guyana, okay? Poverty-stricken country, third world country. I don't know. They're kind of moving up because they discovered oil recently. But, not everyone can plan a trip by themselves and then go to, a not-so-popular vacation destination like Guyana. And I did that fucking shit, okay? Go watch all those episodes. Also, go back even further and check out my Santo Domingo episodes, where I was in Dominican Republic for 2 weeks. Every time I've gone out of the country, with the exception of one, I've gone for 2 weeks. Go ahead and look at my Cayman Islands Van Life Diaries. In the last 2 years, the last 16 months, I've taken 3 international trips by myself on my own dime. So I feel like, let's try and make it into a career. That's the advertisements I've been getting when I've been like looking up, how do I become a travel agent? They're like, hey, do you like to travel? Yes. Do you like to book your own flights? And do you like just doing it for fun? Yes. You're already doing it for free, so go ahead and try to make some money out of it. So that's me, just trying to put myself out there. I know I talked about becoming a travel agent probably earlier this year. So, we'll see how that comes out. But, this is me bringing it up again. And, like I said, I just need a little bit of motivation, aka less motivation, less marijuana would probably help me. And a little bit more self-confidence, a little bit more, I gotta learn a lot, and then I gotta just believe in myself and just try it out. And so that's where I am with that, I'm just tired. I'm tired of fucking working for these fucking people. Aren't we all? Aren't we fucking all? I made a post on TikTok. Ooh, child. I made a post on TikTok a couple days ago, and the girls were mad. The girls and the boys were mad, but the girls were really mad because, well, anyway, the post was, hold on. And you know what? Since we can just go into that right now. I have a bunch of other notes, but this is kind of relevant to the topic because it's November the 4th, and From what I was understanding, I don't follow the news like religiously. I hear tidbits here and there, and then I do my own independent research if it's something that interests me at all. So for the most part, I'm kind of like, I'm not hip with all the shit that's going on. But through the grapevine, from what I was hearing, people who were receiving government benefits like food, and I think it was just food stamps. From what I don't know it, okay? Like this is just me casually being on the outside and observing. But apparently the people who let me actually get the numbers because it pissed a lot of fucking people off, and I'm pretty sure I might lose a few of you on this episode because I'm gonna speak my beliefs, and I could give any fucking rat's ass if you like it. But let me see how many people, before I put my foot in my mouth, how many people in America are, all I had to do was type in how many people in America are, and then finish the rest. Well, I guess it was 42 million. In fiscal year 2025, an average of 41.7 million to over 42 million people in the United States participated in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, formerly known as food stamps. This represents about 12% of the United States population. The number of people served can fluctuate, and participation rates by significantly by state. And I know I made a podcast episode, talking about something similar to this when I first heard wind or discovered that the people who have food stamps will not be allowed to buy sugary foods or like junk food and shit like that, which I fully agree with. And that was a few months ago, and here we are today. It's November the 4th, and apparently a lot, if not all of the people who receive benefits, food stamps, they have been essentially cut off, right? And it honestly, it didn't matter to me, because here's the thing, y'all, and I'm sorry, this may apply to, I don't know. It says only 12% of the fucking population are on food stamps. So, I mean, if we do the math, like 12%, and you take out the top 2%, that means most people in America are not on food stamps, and they are just working. They are just working, or fully capable of taking care of themselves in some way. And this is including anyone who receives benefits, young, old, rich or poor, like people who receive benefits. It's only 12% of the fucking population. So most people understand what a hard day's work feels like. Hello, hi, that's me. I'm 36 years old, and like I said, I've been working for 20 years of my life. Never have I ever applied for I applied for food stamps when I was 18. I'm not going to lie. Never have I ever lived off of food stamps. Okay. And if you want to go, we can go back and talk about that. When I was 18, I definitely applied for food stamps. Hell, I convinced my sister to apply for food stamps. I got like $200 for the month. I got that for like 2 months when I was 18. And then I was like, all right, it's enough. And it wasn't because I felt some type of way about receiving money that I know that I'm capable of earning myself. It was really, it goes back to the motivational thing. They want you to jump through all these fucking hoops and check in and have this and have that and document this and that. I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to have to do all this work just to get free money, I might as well just go get a fucking job. And the rest is history. I've literally been working, jumping job to job for 20 fucking years. Never made or more than minimum wage, except for like the few handful of jobs where I was making the independent contractor job when I was working as a catering chef in Georgia. And I think when I was co-owning the business with my ex-husband. It's the only times in my life where I've made more than minimum wage. And guess what? I've always been able to afford groceries. Okay. So I made this post on TikTok. I know people are mad. I'm going to pull it up now because I'm not recording from my phone, so I can actually look at my phone while I'm recording this podcast. Let me just gum through some of these comments, because the post that I wrote says, "It's crazy that fully capable adults need government assistance for food." Like I said, I'm going to lose a lot of you. I don't give a fuck. Really. Okay. So I made that post because I obviously, like, if you look at the words, I'll read it again verbatim. It says, it's crazy that fully capable adults need government assistance for food. Okay. So, in a nutshell, that was basically saying if you are fully capable, meaning you're not sick or old or underage or retarded, you are fully capable of going out and earning your own living. And believe it or not, I forgot the actual percentage because I did look this up amongst the heated discussion on TikTok. But there's a percentage of people, a lot of people who are receiving government assistance for food who are fully capable adults. And those were the people who I was talking to. Because when you think about it, they are literally taking money out of the pockets or taking food out of the mouths of the people who can't feed themselves, like the elderly or the children, you know. So I think that's fucking bullshit. I think it's crazy was just an understatement. I wanted to say it's bullshit that fully capable adults need government assistance for food. Like, you don't need government assistance for food. What you need to do is learn how to manage your money better, because we're all fucking doing it. At least 80% of the U.S. population are able to earn a living for themselves and purchase their own fucking food. And guess what? If they can't afford the food, then they're not going to go and, you know, go to a concert or go out drinking or go, you know, get their nails done or, you know, whatever fucking people do where they feel like they need government assistance, even though they're fully capable. I think it's bullshit. I'm fully capable. Do I want to? No. But guess what? That's fucking life. We don't want to go to work, but we fucking have to. And we don't want to pay, $8 for a dozen of eggs, but guess what the fuck? We fucking have to. And if you don't want to pay $8 for eggs, then maybe you should start making your own eggs. Maybe get yourself some chickens. Oh, well, it's not that easy. Okay, well, I guess you need to shut the fuck up. Respectfully, if you're not bringing any solutions to the table, it's just so annoying how people just complain about anything. Specifically this last week, I've been hearing all the brokies come out, me included. I mean, I'm broke included, but I would never complain about receiving or not receiving government assistance for food because I'm naturally broke. Okay. I've been like just doing it. I've never relied on government assistance. So yeah, it's fucking crazy that people just they bitch about, oh, the minimum wage is too low. Let me read some of these comments. I'm going to just read some of the comments. I said, it's crazy that fully capable adults need government assistance for food. People were mad. It's a public post. Go follow me on TikTok if you're not already following me on TikTok. It's Chandie Speaks. So I'm just going to read their usernames. Bob says, it's crazy that Walmart and others don't pay full-time workers for a livable wage. Okay. I see that trend in other, I get it. Okay. I fucking get it. Trust me. I would love to go into a job and just be like, yo, give me $40 an hour. But that's not how it works. That's not how business works. If you want to make Walmart type of money, then you need to come up with ideas that whoever came up with the Walmart idea, now they don't have to work a day in their life. You don't want to work a day in your life, but you still want to receive money? Come up with the equivalent of the Walmart idea. Respectfully. I mean, I'm going to be the first to admit that I'm too fucking lazy and unmotivated to think about that. Like, the travel agent thing is like the best that I can do, which would really be the minimal amount of work for me because A, it's something that I like to do, and B, I can do it straight from my fucking van. I don't even have to get out of bed and I can just book some trips. Okay, that's an idea. So yeah, people come and they say Bob wrote Walmart don't pay full-time workers livable wage. Okay, so what the fuck are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's easier for you to change yourself than it is to change a whole entity like Walmart. Okay. Lisa says, it's crazy. Hold on, sidebar. A lot of these people were being totally sarcastic and starting off their comments with, it's crazy that. Very unoriginal, by the way. You guys can do better. But Lisa writes, it's crazy that fully capable corporations don't pay their employees enough to afford food. You know what? I may have to agree that that is kind of crazy. A fully capable corporation, they don't pay their employees enough. Fair enough. But it also goes back to, what the fuck are you going to do about it? You can choose where you want to work. You can choose to not work for these corporations who you know, even though they're capable, they will not compensate you a livable fucking wage. So you have the choice now. That's all I'm really fucking saying right now. You have the choice to choose where you want to work and choose who you want to receive money from. And if that's not good enough for you, then, you know, like I said earlier, you got to come up with some original, innovative ideas. You got to start making your money, or attracting your money instead of chasing your money. Excuse me. I'm going to read a couple more comments on this. People were really mad. I don't know how to pronounce this. Dungeon Siren says, it's crazy. Oh, how original. Everybody else started out their comment with, it's crazy. Dungeon Siren says, it's crazy that the federal minimum wage is $7.50. I'm going to actually fact check that because I don't think that's true. What's the federal minimum wage in America? The federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour? Shut the fuck up. I should actually I should reply to him and be like, actually it's $7.25, but that won't help my argument at all. That's fucking crazy. Never have I ever made $7.50 a fucking hour. That must be for servers or something. I've never made that. Literally, I haven't made $7 since I was 16 years old. Straight the fuck up. Who the hell is going to work and putting $7.25 an hour? That's why when people come and tell me that they need 2 jobs so they can eat, that just tells me that you don't know how to fucking pick a job. That just tells me that you want to work harder, not smarter. It's obviously working harder, going from one job to the next job just to get the same amount of fucking money. It's fucking rough out here. I'm not coming down on us, on the most of the population who work for a living. And I'm not necessarily coming down on the companies. I'm not on anyone's side. I'm just trying to help bring some clarity to the center, okay? Because it is kind of bullshit that that you know, corporate greed is basically what's keeping us fighting for each other. You know, I mean, like, the internet basically broke this week because of anybody who said anything about food stamps. If you were against people who had food stamps and you posted it anywhere on social media within the last 5 days, chances are there's a fucking price on your head. They're coming for you. Okay, you would have probably been safer talking shit about Taylor Swift. God damn it! My cursor was on my cursor for my laptop was hovering over the record button on my laptop, and apparently I accidentally stopped recording like 20 minutes ago. I was doing a rant about my TikTok post, and I think the last thing I said was about Taylor Swift. And then I looked up and noticed that it wasn't recording after I went into a good rant. You probably not. That was some good shit. You guys probably I won't be able to replicate. But just to keep this thing going, I'm gonna read a few more comments from this post that I made. If you're accepting a job for the federal minimum wage of $7.50 an hour, that just tells me that you're not good at making choices. You're not good at making decisions or leading your life. That's just a bad choice. I'll never understand why servers agree to making $3 an hour and agree to relying solely on tips, bullying customers out of their hard-earned money instead of talking to their boss. I'll never understand that. Your best thinking is what got you to where you are right now. The very best that your brain can produce in thoughts is why you are in the position that you are in right now. And if you don't like the position that you're in, you don't like the situation that you're in right now with your life, before you start blaming corporations and the president and men and your job and blah, 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 before you start blaming anyone external, you have to ask yourself, how did my thinking get me to where I am right now? And how can I change that? You can't manage what you can't measure. So if you're not willing to measure it, how the fuck are you going to be able to manage it? They're coming up with all of these, like, everyone online apparently knows exactly what's wrong with the country and the world and men and women. Everyone knows what's wrong with everything whenever you post something that triggers them. But will they ever come up with any kind of solutions? Or will they just continue to victimize themselves and blaming everyone outside of themselves? There's only like a certain select few people or demographics who can legitimately be like in that mindset, in that victim mentality. And I say those are physically disabled people and like children. If you're not retarded and you're not like an infant, then what the fuck is your excuse? You are a fully capable adult and your brain's working. So go ahead and think up something better. I believe in you. It doesn't even matter. You need to believe in you. A lot of these people don't even believe in themselves enough to put forth the effort to make the change. Myself included. You don't see me. At the same time, I'm not going around, being an activist for anything. But yeah, I got to accept what I can accept, and the only thing I'm able to change is my thinking. A lot of broke victims in this fucking comment section right here, and a lot of them are starting their comments out with "It's crazy," because the post was "It's crazy that fully capable adults need government assistance for food," and now everyone's like, "It's crazy this, it's crazy that." Well, Jeebus writes, "It's crazy that mega corporations rake in record profits, pay their employees poverty wages, and leave employees dependent on government subsidies just to keep food on the table." Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It is what it is. You're not gonna change a mega corporation's mind. Okay. You're not. And the sad part is that people they understand that there's nothing that they can do to make the employer pay them a fair or livable wage. And they still continue to go to that place to work. And then they get on TikTok and internet and start bitching about how they're not getting paid enough. Like, no one put a gun to your head. No one told you to sell yourself short. So yeah, this other person, she writes, or I don't know if it's a she or he, but their username, it says 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝘀 Construction. They posted a red hat. It's a picture of a red hat that says "Make America Work Again." Which I thought was funny, but I didn't like it because it felt a little insensitive. I think I'm over this post though. 𝙁𝙗𝙀𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗀 writes, "Why are there food stamps again? I'm a fully capable adult, no food stamps, just a Christian vow of poverty. I drive DoorDash and have my dad buy me a new car every once in a while when it gets stolen or breaks down." Okay, anyway. Good for you. Yeah, a lot of people just really mad about this post. I'm over this post though. So yeah, I gotta start making real fucking changes and not just talking about it, but actually being about it and making, not just making the money work for me, but making the money sort of just flow towards me without me having to. I don't want to give off any desperate energy or any poor energy, really. That shit is sort of like cancerous when you think about it. Like, the mind is a powerful fucking thing. You tell yourself that you don't make enough money and that you're poor and that this and that is just keeping you down. You're going to keep yourself down. You are, with your own thought process, with the own narrative that you paint in your own head. That's really what it is. The mind is and then the crazy thing is, it's like when one person is like shouting out to the rooftop all this shit, like, I'm poor, I'm this, I'm that, it just makes it that much easier for that energy to transfer to someone else. And now you got a whole group of people saying, yeah, we're poor, we're this and we're that. but no one's doing anything. It would be great if those people got together, saw the problem, and then went and solved it. But no, they just trauma bond with each other on my fucking TikTok. And I'm like, y'all, like, I can't help you. Like, anyway, what else did I want to talk about this week? I made another post. I'm just going to go through some other posts. I made another post actually a couple weeks ago, but I didn't read it. That got people upset. Well, not really got people upset, but yeah, a lot of the victims coming out. And the post was also on TikTok. It's a public page, but it says, if you're over 30, it's time to stop blaming your parents and own up to your problems. They did not like that. A lot of people, at least within this comment thread, they sort of identify with their trauma in a way to where, like, they believe that they are their trauma, that, like, they wouldn't be who they are today if it weren't for the trauma, and it's like a part of their whole identity. And a lot of people in the comments I'm gonna read some of these comments out loud. Okay, Nice Hormones writes, nah, they gave me PTSD and will always be at fault for that. That was their choice. And I'm going to read my response to them, because I said, it's your choice to continue to let their actions affect you. It's your choice to heal yourself despite their actions. This is your life. A lot of these people, when I wrote this post, a lot of the people in the comments are just holding on to that pain and that, trauma from their parents, and they're still holding, as adults, they're still holding their parents responsible for, like, fixing their problems. And even though they're not, like, they know that they consider themselves broken and unfixable. Either way, it's like, it's my parents' problem that I'm broken, and it's my parents' problem that I'm not fixed. So it's like, you're over 30. You're a fully capable adult. Really, I wanted to go over 21. Really 25, I think, when the brain stops developing for women or some shit, or I think 25. But 30 is a fair age. I feel like if you've lived on this planet for 30 years, you can't blame your parents anymore. There's only so much that you can blame them for, but you understand self-awareness, you understand self-accountability. Blaming anybody but yourself won't help the problem. So you just want to stay broken, or you want to stay mad and resentful or whatever, or I just don't get it. I mean, I do get it. I get it because this was me. Like, shit. Probably when I was married still. I think I was like 27 or some shit. 27, 28. When actually my ex-husband told me, hey, there's only you can only blame your parents for so long. After so long, you do have to start taking accountability for yourself, and for your trauma. Okay. You got to understand that parents are humans. Okay. They were actually humans before they were your parents. So they're not perfect. Okay. On top of them not being perfect, they're imperfect humans. They're bringing life into the world as, like, clueless parents. Like, they don't get, like, a fucking instruction manual. They're humans. They're imperfect. I'm not excusing child abuse and neglect by any means. I'm just saying that when you get to 30, when you get to this age, you have to look at things from multiple views. Like I said, your best thinking is what got you to where you are right now. Well, their best thinking is what got you to where you are right now as well. If you think about it, if it wasn't for your parents doing their best thinking, they wouldn't have brought forth life, and you wouldn't be here bitching about Walmart fucking livable wages with me. So yeah, a little accountability and self-reflection. I'm gonna read some of these comments on this post and I'm gonna move on. A few people actually I agreed with, but I'm gonna read some that I didn't agree with. Barry Gordy's doorman writes, they do an absolutely terrible job raising their kids and then say, quote, it's time to take responsibility for yourself, end quote. I responded to them. I said, right, the circle of life. Adversity is never permanent, and you wouldn't know happiness if you didn't know pain. Time to be the parent that you needed for you. Guess what? You can actually parent yourself. Did you know that? You don't have to give birth to something in order to be... Ask any step parent in the world. You don't actually have to physically bring that life into the... bring birth to yourself in order to parent yourself. You know what I mean? Or anything. So, yeah, it's... And now that you're old enough, you can actually identify what it is like, I need this, I never got this, I never got this. Okay, now you have all of this power and all of this knowledge that you can actually give it to yourself. That's empowering to me. I don't know about you guys, but I've been loving being my own parent since I basically discovered that A, I can't blame my mom for everything anymore, and B, this is my life. Since I discovered that, I can do it, then I started doing it. And yeah, it's just really sad to see people who just hold on to these grudges and stuff with their parents. I'm not saying it's not deserved. I'm not saying that your pain isn't validated and your trauma isn't, it's real to you. You know, it's, but you know, you have to make the choice if you want to sit in that trauma and sit in that pain forever and identify with it forever, or get yourself to a healthier place, spiritually, physically, mentally. Only you have that power. Jewel writes, I will absolutely blame them for my autism, which is about 70% of my problems. Autism has no medicine and no cure. I'll be like this till the day I go to the other side. Spoken like a true victim. I think I'm going to leave it on that. I don't know much about autism to go in on this chick, but, you know, if you're a victim, just say that. What other post did I make that triggered people? I didn't really trigger people too much with that one. Actually, quite a few people agreed. I'm going to read one that actually agreed with me. A couple that agreed with me. Fuck Ice is the name of the username. They wrote, their shit put me in a hole. One I didn't climb out of like I should have sooner. However, sometimes your brain chemistry becomes changed so much it absolutely feels impossible to change. I blame them for it, but now I need to own it, change it, and not let my kids be exposed to it. I like that. Yeah, once you know, you literally can't go back. You know, once you know better, you have to kind of do better, or things will start working against you. Once you get yourself to a new level of understanding or a new level of awareness, you can't go back. That's why some of the loneliest, craziest people are people who have experienced like psychedelics or their third eye or opening or whatever, because it's a whole new world, and if you went back to your old ways, knowing the new information, you physically can't. Things will just start working against you. So that is spoken like a true, I don't know if they're a man or a woman, but a person who is taking control of their own life. I'm gonna read another comment that I liked. Tyler, published author, writes, it's their fault, but it becomes my fault if I don't address the trauma they caused me. It's my job to heal. Completely agree with that. One more comment says, she's from Jessica. Do I want to read this? Jessica Johnson is the name of the username. She writes, you can still blame your parents. You just have to start blaming yourself, though, too. And then Ray Olive replied to that comment saying, right, because at some point you have to be self-aware, reflect on your own behaviors, and seek help. If someone chooses to have kids, they don't need to pass that on to them, and if not, They don't need to go through life with their trauma unless they want to become the very parent they hate, who probably also went through something as a child. Yeah. Stop blaming your parents. Your parents aren't responsible for how you're living. I mean, unless you still live with your fucking parents at 30 years old, then hey, do you. Okay, I'm halfway over this podcast. I'm kind of upset that I had a really good rant about it was like food stamps or something. I was talking about it and then like I stopped recording. So if this podcast seems matched, it's because the first 35 minutes was full and then these last few minutes, I don't even know how long I'm going to be on here for. The last half is the second recording, I know. Okay, what else did I want to talk about? Regulating a man's emotions. Oh, right. I was sleeping at a Waffle House it was like a week ago, maybe almost 2 weeks ago, and I was woken up from these 3 drunk kids. It was like 3 dudes. Actually, I think I already made a post about this on TikTok, but I'm going to just say it here because I jotted it down. I woke up to the sound of 3 young adults, let's just call them early 20s. They were outside of the Waffle House, but I was parked like, across the way. So I heard them. They were loud enough. It was like, maybe like 3, 4 in the morning. I forget. It's between 2 in the morning and 4 in the morning. And they were talking really fucking loud. And I couldn't even take it out until I woke up and I had to, eavesdrop. Definitely eavesdropping. But it's these 3 guys. And you have one guy who's basically like, telling his friends about this girlfriend problems that he has. And his friend, one of them, he was really loud. He was talking back very loudly to him, and he was telling him that basically you can't do anything to a man. I'm trying to figure out the exact, this was like so fucking long. It was like 2 weeks ago. But I thought it was relevant to a post that I made. Basically, if a man or if a woman talks, this woman was verbally abusing this young man, apparently, from what I was eavesdropping. He was verbally being abused by this girlfriend or this woman, maybe physically abused, I don't know, but his friend was telling him that he can't do anything. The best thing that he can do is just walk away, because that's just how it is as a man. Like, no matter what she says to him, no matter what she does to him, he can't do anything as a man. And it was 2-on-1. It was 2 guys yelling at this one guy, telling him that he's basically being a bitch or not a man by stooping down to her level and verbally abusing her back. Apparently they were like verbally abusing each other. Well, she started, and then he followed up, and then his friends were coming down on him about it, saying like, hey, that's not the answer. That's not how men behave. And it made me think like how easy women have it than men do in certain situations, not every situation, but in this particular type of situation where the woman will go around and just say whatever she wants to say. She is insulting the man. She is emasculating the man. I've seen it. I've seen it in real time, online. I've seen it everywhere. Women really believe that they're just like exempt, or that like they don't have to suffer any consequences for their words or their actions or anything. They just think they're just like above everything. At least in the way that they behave towards men. They just say whatever they want and do whatever they want. Some women actually go out of their way to like slap men and abuse men. And abuse is abuse. I don't care if you're a man slapping a woman or a woman slapping a man or a man slapping a man. It's abuse, and it's fucking wrong. Okay, I get it if men are hitting each other, because that's just kind of what they do. But like, it's still kind of wrong to me. So yeah, these women walk around here and they just say whatever they want, do whatever they want. And this guy was like, you can tell that he was like fighting everything in him to just be like, man, fuck her and fuck you guys. But he knew that what his friends were saying was right. That no, you can't do anything. I think I made a post about that before that happened. So yeah, I just thought that's what it was. I made a post on TikTok. Life is so peaceful when you don't have to help regulate a man's emotions. And then I had a commenter on there saying, actually, he was a guest star on the show, my first guest star on the show, Brandon. He wrote, yeah, but you should be choosing correctly. You don't have to. And I'm like, well, duh, you don't have to help regulate a man's emotions, but you guys know what the fuck I was trying to say. He goes on to say, but also reverse life so peaceful when you don't have to regulate a girl's emotions, because more times than not, this how it be. And that's what sort of reminded me. I'm like, because I didn't say anything to him. I was going to defend it, like, but no, he was right. And it's clear as day. Pretty much everywhere you go, you see women just saying whatever they fucking want and doing whatever they want. I'm not throwing any shade on any of my personal friends or anything or anyone, but I am going to point out an observation that I noticed when I played back this episode. It was the beta males and celibacy with Avocado episode when I met a lady named Avocado at the bar. It was like 3 episodes back. There was a part in our conversation where we were talking about power. We were talking about men and women and like how power was like put out. And a man, just a regular bar goer, he came onto the podcast as well. Middle of like our conversation, he was invited. He invited himself over. He wanted to be a part of the podcast. And if you go back and listen to it, I know we were all drunk and we were all loud and there was music playing in the background, but I did hear moments after the guy was invited to sit down and share his piece with us. Avocado questioned if he was a man. She said something like, I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was something along the lines of, well, maybe he's a woman, or maybe he identifies as a woman. Literally, this girl just met this man like moments ago, and he's invited into our space. She invites him to our space. And as he's sitting down, she's saying something about his gender. And of course, he did not like that. At first, if you go, he says, I identify as a man. He was, strong in his masculine energy, telling her, about himself. And that's fine. It kind of shut her up a little bit. Respectfully, it kind of shut her up a little bit when he started talking. He actually waited patiently to get his piece in. But it did kind of shut her up. But what pissed him off was that he said something that she didn't agree with. He said something, I'm paraphrasing, that if you are a kid yourself, then you shouldn't be raising kids. And I get why he would say that, because he's a man and he doesn't really understand because there are plenty of kids out here who have, not saying that it's, ideal, but, I know plenty of moms who were moms when they were 16, 15, 16, 17 years old, and they're great moms today. Not saying, I'm not supporting it or anything, but I think he was out of line for saying that. And instead of politely disagreeing with him, she just sort of emasculated him and said that, well, I out-earn you, so you're wrong. And that was disrespectful. I thought it was disrespectful. I didn't know what was happening at the time because I was drunk, but I played back the podcast twice and I heard it. I was like, oh yeah, she was mad disrespectful. I'm not coming down on anybody, but I'm just pointing out observations. He sat down and she's talking about if he's a man or a woman already. And then when he says something that she doesn't agree with or that doesn't line up with her narrative, she emasculates him by saying that she makes more money than him. And I just think that was just a tall tale sign of how women operate in the world. Women know how much power they have, and they pretend to be victims for the most part. I'm not saying all women are not victims. We all know the real victim women, the women who were raped or molested or beaten to death. But at the same time, like, a lot of these women who don't get their ass beat still claim to be victims. And also, a lot of these women are fully aware of the red flags. Like, hey, this guy might be a woman beater. And they continue to go on and carry on some kind of relationship because they know that even if he is physically powerful, he's physically stronger than you as a woman, he can probably kill you, okay, with his hands. Something about that makes women feel like safe, but also kind of feel like comfortable, and not in like a disrespectful kind of way. Like we have that protective energy. We know that we are protected if someone else tried to hit us, but we also understand that he legally can't put his hands on me, so I can really say anything I want and do anything I fucking want. And if it pisses him off and he leaves, then I'm gonna just call him a deadbeat or say all men ain't shit. Like, women know what the fuck they're doing. They play the game like they're victims, but they know they have all the fucking power. And men know it too. Men have power. We both have power. We just have different power. We have different roles to fill. We have different biological differences that make us powerful in our own right, okay? And women kind of bleed that shit dry. Respectfully, they do. I've been guilty of it too, literally. I've never been in a fight in my life. No one has ever put their hands on me physically in a hurtful way, in an abusive way, except for when I was except domestic abuse, except when I was in a relationship. That's the only time anyone has ever touched me, or if I have ever fought anyone else, was in a domestic. It's always been a man. So that should tell you something about the power that we have, that we're pretending that we don't have. I'm halfway done with this fucking podcast. Did I talk about the main things that I wanted to talk about? Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm good. I'm really tired. I'm going here and going to dinner. It's like 7 o'clock right now. But anyway, I hope that was a good rant. I hope it's not as choppy up. I'm going to do some editing, post this up tomorrow. But thank you all for listening. Follow me on Spotify. I got 2 new followers on Spotify this week. That's so crazy. If you are in the Sedona or northern Arizona area, preferably Sedona, Camp Verde, not Camp Verde, Verde Village, the Verde Village area or Sedona area, and you want to be a guest on my podcast, go ahead and email me at shandyspeaks@gmail.com. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week.